few and far between. Then they never tell you that guy goes to jail later for fraud.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
The feds busted my house 3 years later and took everything. You're like, yo, okay.
Exactly. Like when they arrested Carlos Mencia recently for like all his counts of tax fraud, I was like, okay. I don't want that to happen to him, but there it is. Right? I mean, that's what it is.
I'm not laughing at Carlos Mencia. I'm just laughing at the fact that you like, yeah, when they busted Carlos.
I mean, didn't bring me any joy to see that. I don't like anybody getting arrested for taxes. I think taxes, until they have an accurate account of where the fucking money goes, and until you completely eliminate all fraud and waste, what the fuck are you doing locking people up for not paying taxes? Like, you guys should get locked up for not doing a good job with our money.
So what you think about all the new purchases and redoing the White House and all this with tax dollars?
Did they do it with tax dollars? Like, how much money did they spend in tax dollars to do the ballroom?
What's that?
Let's find out.
What's that?
They need a ballroom, though. That's how that guy snuck in with a gun, because they tried to do that White House Correspondents' Dinner in a hotel. That dude who got arrested a few months back.
What's this resolution? The pool, something full of algae right now that we spent all that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's something about making the pool look nice. That whatever that is, reflecting pool.
Yeah, the reflecting
Reports
pool.
indicate the new White House East Wing ballroom is projected to cost about $600 million, with roughly half, just over $300 million, coming from taxpayer-funded government accounts, despite earlier promises that it would be taxpayer-free. $300 million sounds like a lot until you find out how much money they spend on other things. When you find out how much fraud it is in NGOs, how much fraud is in nonprofits, how much fraud is in insider trading and propping up companies so that they can get better deals.
Well,
the whole thing is fraud.
The thing is, if you spending, I understand how much money goes in other things, but if you spending any money that's my money that I don't know that I need it, or that's not really the aim, the goal.
You should be able to vote on it.
You should be able to vote on it. But
you should be able to vote on where all your tax money goes.
How much tax money is being spent on getting smart people in place, making smart children?
That's the big one.
That's the thing.
The big one is, if you look at our country as a community, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be the United States of America. All that bullshit aside, that was the one good thing that happened about 9/11. When 9/11 happened, after that, we were all united. It was crazy. It was crazy. We realized, like, we are actually on a team. So if we're on a team, why do we have these deeply impoverished neighborhoods for decades and decades that are riddled with crime and drug abuse? Why? Is it impossible to fix? That's crazy. That's not true. It's just no one's tried to fix it. No one's done any effort to fix it. And if you did fix it, you want to make America great. Here's the best way. Less losers. And how do you get less losers? More opportunities for people. More opportunities, more support, more education, more everything that you need if that was your neighborhood. Yeah. And if we did that, we'd have to switch the way our system runs, but that could be done, man.
That's the thing.
You don't have to have losers. Not that many.
That's the thing about Make America Great, right? If you're trying to make anything great, don't you need intelligent people to do that?
Of course. That's the number one thing.
So when we have all these divisive people that's on a lower vibration, how is that making the country great if we're putting people in position that don't have the experience or the education in those things? And then we just saying a bunch of divisive things.
Yeah.
It was. If I'm watching
Joe Rogan, even though gloating that he was right about Carlos Mencia, did defend him, though, in saying that he did not like the fact that he got arrested for not paying his taxes. So Carlos Mencia. Oh, and they did him dirty too. They arrested him Friday afternoon, so he had to spend the entire weekend in jail. Ugh, his cellmate must have been thrilled with that one. But, I mean, Joe, he's talked about it now on this pod and the one with Tony Hinchcliffe. Although here he directly talked about Carlos getting arrested. And Joe just defended him, basically saying he doesn't think anyone should get arrested for not paying his taxes. And I get what he is saying. Like, whenever I hear people always go on and on and on about, like, the tax to billionaires and billionaires are evil and we need to take all of their money. I always wonder, is it an issue or we need to take their money when I think we have enough money? It's just that the money isn't spent correctly. I mean, if you take all their money but then just buy F-17s with it and magical beans and build useless stuff, then what's really the point? I don't think it's really an issue of we need to take more money. It's just that whatever money the government has, it needs to spend it correctly. That's why Joe, I think, is defending Carlos in this instance, mainly because Joe is also trying to save his money. You know, Joe doesn't want to be paying those taxes. Some would argue one of the big reasons he moved from California to Texas was to save some of that money when he signed that Spotify deal. I do think that wasn't the major issue in that move. I think it was an issue, but probably only like 20% net positive. I think the number one reason why Joe signed that Spotify deal was he was 100% going to get thrown off of YouTube because he was in this whole COVID thing. And you got to remember, Joe Rogan had the biggest podcast in the world. Still does, but it was at like its height at the time. And he 100% had a YouTube representative who told him, you keep having on these guests, you're going to get thrown off. That's why he signed the Spotify deal. But he also then moved to Texas because of the lockdowns and stuff, and then thought he was going to recreate the comedy scene in Texas, opened up the Comedy Mothership, and I think that's been a complete and utter failure. I mean, the Mothership might be a cool club, but he was not able to redo that scene. I mean, he's got the Rogan Sphere comedians, but even they have said, like, the Rogan bumps used to be a thing, but since he went to Spotify, it doesn't exist anymore. Although he's back on YouTube now, but it's still not what it used to be. But the fact that he is defending Carlos Mencia, will this end with Carlos Mencia on the Joe Rogan podcast to talk about this? That would be very interesting. I highly doubt Joe would ever do that. Ever. I don't even know if Carlos would do it. I'm still shocked Carlos was making that much money. I knew Carlos was still making money as a stand-up, but like $8 million? Damn, but let me know your thoughts in the comments.